going on, guys? Welcome back to another episode of the Pazza podcast. It has been a while. Sorry for kind of going MIA for a little bit. The international break came and went, so that was partially the reason. And then it's just been busy. My wife and I are in the process of relocating here within the States to a different state as well. So there's just been a lot of stuff going on. And of course, the big derby couldn't have come at a worse time. Wanted to give a video update after that, kind of a recap, the typical thing I do after matches. But A, definitely wasn't in the mood after how that derby ended. Isn't an excuse, don't want to be a sore loser, but I knew if I came on here and rambled, it would not be pretty and there would be tons of expletives and I'd probably get kicked off of YouTube. So did that to keep the channel alive, if you will. And also just been busy. Figured though today I have a little time, so might as well hop on here and give a little update on the club, on Inter, the Nerazzurri, and also give a little bit of a video before I resume, hopefully, the way the channel has been going. Usually I just do a post Serie A match day kind of thought analysis, all that stuff. So this one's a little different being after a Champions League match, but we're going to start talking about the Juve match and we're going to give kind of just quick little thoughts on both matches that have happened since the international break ended. So we'll start with the Juve match, and there's not much more I can say than probably you haven't heard from Uncle Sharma, Nima on the Italian football podcast, Mike Grella on Paramount Plus, interjections, interviews, whatever podcasts you're also listening to or analysts you're watching. It's the same. It's the mentality of this squad, of these players, that I mean, we haven't won a derby in over. We didn't win one last season, and we're starting this season 0-1 in a derby. And it's Juve too, a team that last year we went up 4-2 and conceded two late ones that shouldn't have been conceded to at least bring a draw at home. This one is one where on the road we're going to a place that we struggle with. I don't remember exactly, but if I'm not mistaken, we've never won at the Allianz there in Turin. Maybe once we've won there, maybe under Conte, but that was COVID year. But I'm not 100% sure on that. But we're going to a place that's it's very difficult to play, and you have the result in your hand, up 3-2, and you bottle it, just like you bottled everything towards the end of last season, and you've already started the league campaign bottling it before it's even really kicked underway. And I guess that's the thing we have on our side. Not trying to get off topic here or anything, but we do have 35 matches left to play. So there's a lot of football left to play. But just based off that performance, and then we followed that Udinese performance with that performance, it's tough to see any motivation from a lot of these players, any fight, and any way back into keeping up with Napoli. At this point, it almost looks like a two-horse race between Napoli and Juve because they have the two best defenses. And that's Inter's weakness currently. And you can point fingers at the back line, Bisek, Acerbi, Akanji, Bastoni, Jan Sommer in goal as well. But you can also point to the midfield. Hakan, not his best in terms of since he's been back from injury, as far as that defensive play, which was something that put him into that category of being a world-class center midfielder uh, before the second half of last season. It's dropped off. Mkhitaryan, you guys know how I feel about him. And then even Barella, I don't want to talk ill about Barella because he's, our vice captain, one of our most important players, and we need to have him on the pitch. But even he just lacks sometimes and slacks, and it just doesn't look right. And it all came to fruition in that Juve match. We got 3 goals. 2 were Hakan Wonder goals. Glad to see him back on the score sheet. But other than scoring, he was kind of ineffective the whole match. And then a set piece, and we've essentially become set piece FC. I mocked Arsenal last year whenever we played them, and the only time they were going to score against us was off of set piece. It was corner after corner after corner, and we've become that. My buddy Vince in our group message, he says we're the Arsenal of Italy, and he's not wrong. And we have no creativity. This is just kind of a recap of and thoughts after that Juve match. What I've thought, no creativity at all to unlock a team, and it's something, again, it's something that everybody said, all these analysts, all these podcasters. So I don't want to beat it up too much, but how can we see this? Everyone, every Interisti, every Serie A supporter, anybody who's watched an Inter match in the last year can see there's no body on the pitch to break anyone down dribbling. You got Turam, you got Boni, you got Denzel Dumfries, but they're not going to take a man on 1v1. What they're going to do is just boot it past them and hope they can outrun them, sprint past them. Um, and the defense, the first goal, you can blame Dumfries. That was bad defending on his part. It's almost the same type of defending that he got against Udinese, where he got the handball. He just has no idea where his man or the ball is on a cross. And then Akanji being a mile away from freaking, is it Kelly? Some no-name person that plays for Juve that's an Englishman that shouldn't even be on the pitch, should be playing for a mid-level EPL team, and we let him score the opening goal. And people were blaming Sommer. There's no way Sommer could have got that. He's the ball is coming from this side. He's scrambling back when it comes crossed in from Bremer, and then it's hit back to that side. There's no way he's saving that. Second one, probably should have done better. I think he got his hands on it, Jan Sommer, and should have done better. But he was blocked slightly by Acerbi, and the thing I remember most about this goal is it was no 2 to 3 minutes earlier. There was a moment where Inter's building up around in the attacking third, Juve's defensive third, and it's either Hakan, I think Hakan or Bastoni have the ball in that position that they pick up on the left side. The Marco's in front of them. There's the 2 forwards, and then there's this huge gap of space. And Mkhitaryan is kind of on the right side of midfield. I don't know why he wasn't on the left side at this point, but he just stands there, and all he has to do is run into that space, receive the ball, and that brings one of those central defenders to him, and he can either lay it off, or if they don't, he has a shot. And it's no more than 3 minutes, 3 minutes later, you see Kenan Yildiz in that exact position where Mkhitaryan should have been. He picks the ball up, he turns, no Inter defender comes out. Shocker. No Inter defender comes out and tries to press and force something different from a player who's been on fire to start this season. Maybe not goal production wise, but just impacts of match. And nobody tries to close him out. What does he do? He shoots and scores. Well taken goal. And then, we get, like I said, the good goals. That second one that Hakan scored, my goodness. That is very reminiscent of my Khan's goal against Juve. Same Derby. My goodness, that was a heck of a goal. That, out of all of them, for me, again, blue and black tinted glasses, but that's the pick of all of them right there. That Hakan second goal. It was absolutely brilliant. And then we score off a header, off a corner, set piece FC. And then no more. And here's the one criticism of Kivu in this game is subs were not great. You bring on Darmian, that's fine. But when you're trying to close out a match, how do teams usually try and get either an equalizer or a winning goal in matches when they're chasing it? It's crosses into the box, dump it in there, put bodies in the box, set piece maybe. Why not bring Jan Bisek? I know he's susceptible to an error here or there, but so is Darmian. We've seen it with Darmian giving up penalties before, dumb penalties, own goals. What was the game last year? Was it Verona 3-1 maybe? Or Torino 3-1? The one goal that they scored was an own goal by Darmian. So you're not going to convince me there. Bisek's a big body. He's going to win headers. Put him in. If he's in there and you're doing this zonal defending on corners and set pieces that you want to do, I don't think it was a corner. It was a set piece because Bastoni, very dubious call anyway, on the foul on Bastoni. But it's Serie A that those calls get called every time. Um, but put in somebody like Bisek, a big body, someone that can head the ball out when you need to. If he's in there, zonal marking in the middle of all that, it's hypothetical. Damned if you do, damned if you don't. We're looking at this from a couple days later. But you'd like to think Bisek would win a header there over, I think it was Zielinski might have been the closest one. What's he doing in the box anyway? I, 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 I don't know. Shocking. And then again, lack of closing out from the midfield results in the fourth goal. You can say Yildiz, he got in behind too easily. Hakan there. Again, defensively, Hakan's a liability almost at this point. And then no one steps up to close him out. The fourth goal, we let some guy who I've never even heard of before, can't even pronounce his name, didn't even know who he was, have acres of space. Now, it was a well hit shot. Sommer should have probably done way better than that. You get your hands on that, you've got to save it. But make no mistake about it, that's a hell of a strike. But I mean, any of these guys are professionals. Any of these guys can hit a strike like that from 20, 25 yards out when you have no one around you, no one pressuring you. He could have taken another dribble and shot it and still had that time. Now, there's been images that have come out regarding Boni and that foul from Thuram. Referee put his whistle up to his mouth. On the initial replays, I didn't think it was a foul because I was looking mainly at his head because that's where he went down. But if you watch the feet, Kefren Turam, does come through the back of Boni. And I wonder if because he went down holding his head, no one else, you would think VAR would look closer at that, especially with the referee putting his whistle up to his mouth. I don't know. We didn't deserve to win it anyway, so you can't harp too much in the refereeing. It's just I whenever we were up 3-2, I texted my group message and I said they're either going to tie it or win this. There's no way this team. Sorry, it wasn't. It was 3-2 when it was 3-3. I said Juve is going to win this. This team collapses, and they've shown it over the last year and a half. And Kivu hasn't changed anything. He hasn't changed the mentality. He hasn't changed the psyche. Oh, sorry, I've started rambling, and I said I wasn't going to do that. Um, but yeah, it was just, I don't know. It was one of those performances that just really irked me. And I knew coming on here after and in the subsequent days, I just would do you guys a disservice. So hopefully, this little mini recap and analysis will suffice and everything. But we'll talk about, to finish this episode, the real big talking point from this match, in my opinion. Moving on to today, Ajax, a game that we desperately needed a result to start the Champions League campaign off in the right way, away at Ajax too. Now, Ajax isn't the Ajax of old, but they're still a solid squad. Good coach, Heitinga, played with Kivu. That's the trend in world football right now. These young coaches coming in, and it's a place that you could hear from the start that it was rocking and they were ready. And man, that first half, I was mainly listening to it because I was still at work, but that first half was just awful. It was like watching paint dry. The football was not great from either side, honestly. I think Ajax maybe was the better side in the first half. They were definitely unlucky to not bag a goal on that 1v1. For all the people that were criticizing Jan Sommer and everything, we know where his limitations are. He's 6 foot, maybe a shade under 6 foot. So those goals that we saw Yildiz and whoever that no-name kid that I'm sure is going to make me eat my words in 6 months and become the best midfielder in Serie A. But those shots, they are at the corner of the goal in the sides. But if you get a hand to them, if you're Donnarumma size. Those are easy saves. Um, so that's his limitation. He's short. But where he isn't limited at is his reactions and his quickness and as far as getting down to the ground and everything. And that was a huge save. If Inter goes down there 1-0, with the mentality these guys have had and shown over the last year and a half, since my buddy Vince always likes to point out, Vince, I know you're listening. I'll give you some credits in the comments below. He always likes to point out that game against Atletico 2 years ago at the Wanda Metropolitano, something happened there. And mentally, our defending and the team structure and just the team itself has not been there since. And you saw it. I don't even know how they got through there. We were pressing so high, and then we weren't even pressing. We had the ball, and we were committing bodies forward, and it was just a boom, simple dink over the top. And luckily, Jan Sommer came to the rescue. But like I was getting to, if we go down 1-0 there, does this team get back into the match? Do we win this match? What happens? I The optimist in me in the summer would have said yes, we come back and win that match. But what I've seen so far this season, I don't know. It's tough. Luckily, Jan Sommer was there, and we don't have to talk about it anymore. Hypothetical. And then we go back right down the field and get a corner. And who is it again? Marcus Thuram, starting off the season on fire. Um, Great header, by the way. Absolutely incredible, colossal header. And it literally bang bang happened in an instant, and we're up 1-0. And that kind of took the wind out of Ajax's sails. What really took the wind out of their sails is coming out in the second half and immediately scoring again on a set piece. Shocker. Marcus Thuram, another header. Like the first one a little better. This was still a good header. But 2-0 ended up being the final score. I don't really think we created much other than set pieces, which is kind of the MO, our modus operandi these days. Ajax probably they had a couple of decent chances in the last 15, 20 minutes, and we come away on the road with a clean sheet and 2 goals. One thing I do like to point out and give shout outs to is I think Pio, his hold up play, the announcer even said it. He's not going to get the accolades and the applause that Turam gets after the game, rightfully so, scoring 2 goals. But Pio was very impactful and looked very well. And I really enjoyed what I saw from him here. Hopefully he can build on that with some goals in the upcoming. I'd like to think maybe this weekend he gets another full 90 against that Swallow, but we'll see. Um, but that was huge. I think Pio played really great. Stefan de Vrij, really great as well. Didn't have his usual like brain fart moment in the match where he just runs around doing something that no one knows exactly what he's doing. So really good to see from Stefan de Vrij. Dumfries, something's off with him. I don't know. Hakan, again, he got the 2 assists off corners, but really didn't see much from him. Barella, lackadaisical. Um, DiMarco played great. I don't know. We got the result on the road, and that's really all that matters. But it's still, there's something missing. There's something lacking. There's something just not there. It doesn't feel right. Who knows? Hopefully, we got a good run of games coming up. I think we got Sassuolo this weekend, then Cagliari after that, and then I want to say Slavia Prague after that. So 3 winnable games in a row to finish out the month of September and hopefully gain some ground back on Napoli or Juve. Hopefully or even Milan is looking good right now. And gain some ground back on them. Hopefully one of those drop points. We'll end this with the last thought for me about this is the Thuram situation and the Juve match. And it hurts because Thuram, for the first 2 seasons he was here at Inter, really enjoyed the way he played. He brought a lightheartedness to the squad and always seemed to be having fun. But I don't know where I saw it at the beginning of the summer, going into the Club World Cup. But someone had posted, whether it's on a message board, Reddit, maybe in my group message. I don't remember where I saw it, Instagram. But this summer and then leading into the season, something is off with Thuram mentally. Now he's still producing and scoring goals and playing pretty good football on the pitch. You could argue he's been our best player so far this season, and I wouldn't debate back with that. Um, but I don't know. You could even tell in the way the social media from Inter was this summer. You know, there was no real interactions with Thuram. Anytime he was on the video, he was just kind of like stone cold, not doing anything. You know, then Lautaro says what he says after that Fluminense defeat, and there's speculation coming out about Thuram wanting to go to Juve, and he's one of the ones maybe Lautaro is talking about. Apparently, they have a you know, a face to face, a heart to heart meeting about it, all that stuff, and the reports come out that it's squashed. But even, I mean, this season, you see he scores against Juve, no celebration, just stands there. This is the biggest match, the biggest derby in all of Italy, the biggest rivalry. If you ask me who I hate more, you know, Milan, Juve, anybody else, it's Juve every day of the week. They're scum. They're cheating scum. I hate them with a passion. And for you just to sit there after you score and not celebrate and act like, I don't know, that rubbed me the wrong way. But what rubbed me the worst way is after a Juve goal, can't remember if it was his brothers or the winner. It might have been the winner because Boni is on the ground, and that's what I think was the holdup. You're sitting there laughing with your brother at midfield. That's a spit in the face to not only me, but to every Interisti out there in the world. And that doesn't sit right with me. Now, for me, if you play the rest of the season and you score goals and all that, thank you for your service. But I think that, I don't know, that rubs me the wrong way. You have a lot to prove to me as a fan. The goals are one thing, but if you don't die for this badge and put it all on the line for this badge and respect this badge, like we do as fans, like so many players before you, Lautaro included, Barella, Zanetti, you're spitting in their faces, and it just rubs me the wrong way. And I really, really did not like that. And that was part of the reason why I didn't want to come on after the Juve match, because I was so fed up and pissed off at the mentality and the way these players have treated us as fans since that 5-0 defeat, really even since before that. But you can sum it all up with that 5-0 defeat in or against Paris. It, like I said, Turam, you can win me back, but you've got a lot to do. And that's, maybe it's a 30 goal season, and maybe it's, you know, 30 goal season and carrying us to the league and carrying us to a quarterfinals of the Champions League or something like that. And maybe then. But you know, you can have a 30 goal season and we win and we get fifth place and you know, don't even make it out of the group stages. Cool, you got 30 goals. Congratulations. It just, I don't know. You have a lot to prove to me, Turam. And I think if I'm overstepping Interisti, you let me know in the comments what you think. I know I've seen a couple videos. I haven't really been keeping up because I've just been so busy with the move and everything and getting stuff ready for the new job. Let me know what you guys think. Ugh, just rubs me the wrong way. I'm gonna have to end it here because I don't, my mind is scattered and that's all I can think about. So we got, like I said, games on the road or games coming up that are winnable: Sassuolo, Cagliari, and Slavia. And yeah, look for Sunday or Monday another video coming out, like a recap and analysis, more normal to how I usually do them. This is just a quick recap and everything, just to let you guys know I'm not dead. But I appreciate all the support, guys, and everything, and interacting with me, whether it's DMs or messaging or comments on different videos. Lifeless Guarov, one of my followers on Instagram, he's always sending me stuff. Shout outs to him. And yeah, as always, Forza Inter. Don't forget to like, subscribe, comment, all that good stuff. Appreciate it, guys.